Hello, everybody. You are very welcome to Successful Perspectives. Successful Perspectives is when we deep dive into the topic of leadership. One of our members from our very selective and influential network, Boardroom by EMIR. And for this chat, I'm very happy to be joined by Frans Hiemstra, the Regional General Manager for the Middle East and Africa at Uber. So Frans, it's great to have you on Successful Perspectives, and thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure. Great to be here in the hot seat.
So Frans, was there someone you looked up to that when you were younger that represented the kind of leader you wanted to be?
Yes, I still think I'm pretty young, but 7 years ago, Dara Khosrowshahi joined Uber as CEO. Honestly, it was a time when we needed a step change in leadership, a step change in maturity in the business. And he brought a stability, and I think he did all the right things to stabilize the business and to focus us. But I think the thing that stands out for me from a leadership perspective is the way he communicates internally to staff, a big internal team, and he's super authentic, very direct. But I think his transparency, it really generated trust very quickly with him. And he's maintained that. So internally, I think he's good. Externally, he's phenomenal. He can bring, again, trust to the room very easily. Mm-hmm. And yeah, inspiring leader. We see a lot of him. So he's, I suppose, a big leader in the last 7 years of my life.
I agree. You are young as well. I know when you say younger, people usually say when I'm a child, but it's a phenomenal example of modern day leadership as well. So Frans, on that exactly, as a leader, what's the one popular belief that's total nonsense?
So leaders don't have all the answers. I think that's the first thing. But I think a successful leader is somebody that surrounds themselves by the right, talented, diverse, critical thinkers that they can leverage in their team to come up with the best ideas. We have a value at Uber. Great minds don't think alike, which I really like, because you always have different perspectives, and frankly, that's how you solve the most difficult problems with a diverse group of minds.
Frans, that's a great answer, and it kind of leads me into my next question, which I always ask our members, and for our audience that are watching and listening, is it lonely at the top of an organization? Do you feel that's something that is true?
To a degree, yes. I do believe that, yeah.
And do you feel like there's anyone you go to right now for advice in that in that part of the role?
Yeah. So my wife is actually an actor.
Okay.
And what actors do well is they read people, they understand characters. If you picture it, they need to put themselves in a different character to do their job. And where I find my wife's input particularly valuable is on the softer people side.
Okay.
I don't always know the right way to deal with a difficult people issue, and frankly, she is always a really good sounding board and often puts herself in the other person's shoes really successfully, and that helps me navigate that.
Okay, transitioning from that, Frans, I have to ask, how do you identify potential leaders within an organization?
So when you look at talent within an organization, the people that stand out to me as future leaders are people that are okay with uncertainty, okay with change, and thrive in uncertainty and thrive in the uncomfortable environment. People that are nervous around it, react badly to it, generally don't move as successfully within an organization. So people that embrace change, people that live change, frankly, are the people that will succeed in building it.
Can I expand on that? I know they're great points, and I want to maybe dive a bit further. Is on top of that, would there be any other advice for our watchers today as to on how they can embrace this change and become potential leaders for tomorrow?
So I think you should always scan the external environment that's impacting your business, impacting your sort of personal brand, and be able to incorporate that into your decision making. The status quo will absolutely change, and it changes fast. Today, there's a lot going on in the world. I think there's a ton of uncertainty as well. And if you, again, are afraid or anxious or don't embrace this often external changes that will impact you, then you're going to be left behind. So I think that's it. See the change coming and figure out how you navigate it versus fearing it.
No, that's a great answer, right? It's understanding what's on the horizon and being mindful of the systems and processes we have in place for ourselves to navigate those waters, to allow that change, to embrace that change.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of leads me into my next question. And I was very curious around this. I've known you a few years now, and you're incredibly driven, incredibly gifted, and you're just a great speaker, full stop. I see the way Uber is growing across the region and the innovation behind it. But what I'm also is on a personal level is on how do you find your purpose?
So a lot of my day, a lot of my headspace is obviously taken up by the business that I do. And then there is a ton of headspace that gets taken up by outside of business. I've got a young family and takes a lot of time. I travel a lot. So getting the right balance is quite tough. And often when you're stretched and going through a strenuous time, like your purpose is actually quite important.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose I'll talk to professional purpose.
Yeah.
The interesting thing for me, as at Uber, I've always been quite inspired by the fact that we're reinventing how people move, and it does actually change. I was at Uber for a couple of years, and initially it was great to see you press a phone and the car arrives, and that's cool. But we started to take that for granted now. But I think the thing that drives me professionally now is to see the next thing that will evolve in the mobility space.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about the future of mobility being multimodal, being shared, being electric, and autonomous.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, just that is inspiring because all of that is sitting in the future. And what inspires me again about that is that I and our team at Uber can work at building towards that. So that's what inspires me, and that's my purpose professionally. And then personally, while we're doing all of that, I try and maintain as much of a balanced lifestyle. I don't succeed at it as much as what I would like, but I think the purpose helps me get through all of that.
It's a great answer. You've hit the nail on the head on both in terms of professional and why you're so driven and committed to everything you're delivering at Uber. And on a personal life, balance is key. I think it's something we all have to work on over life. Purpose constantly evolves and can change, and being tied to it or understanding it, especially to your point, when we're in moments when we're stretched, makes you not feel as stretched. It makes you understand that I'm doing this because this is what my purpose is all about. Frans, honestly, excellent answers. I honestly really appreciate your insights, and I'm sure all of our viewers do as well. Frans, it's been a pleasure having you on Successful Perspectives. Everyone stay tuned, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you.